everybody. It is Friday. Rose Coleman popping in here live from Calgary, Alberta. And I just wanted to pop in. It's my Facebook Friday Live. Every Friday I come to you live from my stamp room. And I have usually something to share. I always have something to share. Using a new product, new technique, or something that I'm featuring. So this week, if you were following me here on Facebook or on Instagram, you notice that I am featuring SIP, S-I-P, okay? So what that means is stamps, ink, and paper. Hi ladies, thanks for joining me. So stamps, ink, and paper. So that's really back to the basics of what I fell in love with Stampin' Up. And I love to share, always love to share how I started with Stampin' Up. Basically, that's how I started. I went to a workshop, I was introduced to stamps, ink, and paper. Hi Amanda, hi Helena, hi Catherine, Twyla. Thanks so much for joining me. Okay, so waiting 2 minutes seems like forever, Candace. Sorry to keep you waiting. My clock on the wall was wrong, actually. I was going by the clock on the wall, not on my phone, so sorry about that. Okay, so SIP, stamps, ink, and paper. It's back to the basics. So you don't need a ton of different products to make beautiful cards, okay? That's the whole point of my product this week, is to go back to the basics and talk to you about how to get started. So if anybody new is joining us, it is completely easy to start this hobby and have fun, okay? So let's talk a little bit. Well, before I get started on my presentation, my little video today, I want to do a draw for the last week, all the people that shared. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hi, Candace. In my little orange bucket here, my little paper pumpkin bucket, I always have the names of the people who shared my video last week. So if you click the bottom of this video and click share and share this with your friends, they can see all about Stampin' Up. Okay, so all the names are in here. And remember I said last week it was going to be an embellishment. So I've chosen, I do 2 draws every week for prizes, okay, for people that share my video. I've chosen the clear faceted gems. I'm not sure if you can see those. There we go. They're awesome little gems. And I've also have a package of gold gems, okay? So let's do the draw. We'll do the draw for the silver ones first. Okay. I have a name here. Amanda. Amanda has won the silver ones. Congratulations, Amanda. And the gold ones, let's see. Tanya Billard, thank you so much, ladies, for sharing. I really appreciate it. So Tanya, you got some gold ones, and Amanda's getting the clear. So just put those aside. So don't forget to share my video and come back next week and see who won the prize, okay? Or the 2 prizes. All right, let's get started with stamps, ink, and paper. Okay, so stamps, let's talk about that for a second. There are 3 types of stamps that Stampin' Up sells. There's the wood mount, there's clear mount, and then there's photopolymer. When I meet someone brand new, the first thing they ask me is like, what's the difference, right? Okay, let me just show you really briefly here. This one that I'm holding in my hand is wood mount, okay? This is my lemon zest. So when I open it up, you can see all the stamps are mounted on wood. So they come with the wooden blocks, and then you get the stamps and you stick them on. They have the sticky backing, and you get the stickers, okay? So they would already be ready to go. That is the beauty of wood mount stamps, is they're ready to go when you open your package. The other option that we have is clear mount. Now, some people get that confused with photopolymer, but what clear mount is, it's still the red rubber, but it comes like in a little sleek case like this. So if storage is an issue, this is a nice little slim, almost like a little DVD box, okay? So, and then you get your stamps, but they're not mounted, okay? So they're just in red rubber like this, okay? That's just your red rubber sheet with your pieces. So this one is one I'm gonna play with today called Hung with Care. So you got your little red rubber stamp with your sticker on the back that you mount, and then you need a clear acrylic block, I'm just reaching for one, to mount your stamp on, okay? So that's why it's called clear mount, so because it needs to be mounted onto a clear block, okay? So that's clear mount. Now these are typically, not typically, they always are, they're cheaper than the wood mount ones just because you're not paying for the wood. So 2 features, benefits of this is that it's cheaper, it's sleeker, Okay, so less storage, and they're actually cheaper to mail too. So if you were to send this as a gift, it would be cheaper in the mail than sending all those wooden blocks, and you're saving some trees, okay? So I know that's important to some people. So clear mount, wood mount, all is still all the red rubber, which is where a lot of the detail of our stamps are, okay? Now the third type of stamp that we sell is photopolymer. Now photopolymer is clear. See this one? I'm going to play with this one. This is Painted Harvest. So it's already mounted onto my block, but you can see that it's clear. So when I ink this up and I go to stamp it, I can see right through it. So it's clear, okay? So that's our stamps. Now our ink, we're going to talk about that in a second. We have ink pads. We have all kinds of different options for ink. Ink pads, ink refills. We have markers, felt markers. We have blends. Lots of different options for adding color to our projects. And paper, well, that's our cardstock, okay? And our cardstock is so amazing. The cardstock actually has color all the way through. So if you were to do the tearing technique, you can see the color. So sometimes if you buy cardstock at another store or whatever, and you go to do the tear technique, it's actually white on the inside. So Stampin' Up's color is true throughout the whole piece of cardstock. So, and it's thick, very, very thick. It's actually thicker than any one that I've ever found in any store, any paper crafting store. So love, love, love our cardstock. And the other amazing, amazing benefit for Stampin' Up products is they always coordinate. So if you buy real red cardstock today, it's guaranteed to match real red cardstock that you buy 10 years from now. They do lots of rigorous testing on their color matching to make sure that the batches that they receive from the manufacturer matches what they've committed to. Okay, so that's a really important thing for me and for a lot of people, is that the colors always stay true. Okay, so let's flip the camera. I have a couple of cards I want to show you today. I'm really excited about these because these are very simple and anybody can do them. So this is for a beginner or anybody else who's been stamping for a long time. So here we go. All right, let's see. I'm just going to get you lined up here. So there's my catalog. Now I've opened the catalog up here to the pages that have the color. Okay, so I'm on page 182 here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. So on these pages, this is where it starts with our color families. And this is the page here, page 183. So this shows our in colors here. So we have ink pads, markers, re-inkers, cardstock, ribbon, 2 types of ribbon, all kinds of stuff in those colors. So this is where you would go to find ink and cardstock. So, and the next few pages are our neutrals collection, which is these 10 ink pads. We have our ink colors. We have the brights collection. We have subtles and we have regals. Okay, so lots and lots of color choices. And so now we're going to get started. I'm going to start with a card, and I'm just going to use stamps, ink, and paper, just as I mentioned. So the stamp set that I'm going to be using first, I'm going to use 2 stamp sets today. The first one is called Painted Harvest. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and it is on page 139 of the catalog, in case you wanted to look for it. And it has an image, this leaf image, that coordinates with the leaf punch too. This is a fantastic stamp set for Thanksgiving, which is coming up really quick here in Canada, okay, because it has gather together and give thanks, I am thankful for you, your kindness means so much more than you will ever know. Like, just lovely gestures. So let's play with this one now. So I wanted to keep it simple, as I mentioned. Simple is easy, and completed cards and scrapbook pages or whatever you might be working on. So I have a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock, okay? And I've cut it, the full sheet, I cut it down at 4 1/4. So my sheet here measures 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it in half at 5 1/2, okay? So I'm just gonna fold that in half and set that aside for a second. I have a layer of crushed curry, and it measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. So that's gonna go on to my card base. And I'll just grab my adhesive and go ahead and stick that down. There we go. So then I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to do my stamping on a piece of Very Vanilla. Now the Very Vanilla that I've got here measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, okay? So I'm gonna bring in my ink now. So I've got my cardstock, now I have ink. So I'm gonna be using 4 colors of ink today. I'm gonna use Early Espresso, Old Olive, Cajun Craze, and Crushed Curry, okay? So from the Painted Harvest, we have 2-step stamping, okay? So we have this larger background stamp and we have another smaller one. So the larger one, I'm gonna bring in my Crushed Curry and I'm gonna stamp it in that color. So here we go. Hi Camilla, thanks for joining me. Whoops, I just inked up the back of my block. Don't do that, that's not the way to stamp. You have to ink up the stamp, not the back. All right, let's try again. Okay, so I've got my stamp, I've got my Crushed Curry, and I'm gonna ink up this background stamp, and I'm gonna stamp 3 of these. I'm gonna go off the edge of the cardstock, and I'm gonna do one there, and another one down here. So I'll put that one aside. I'm done with Crushed Curry. Now I'm gonna bring in my Cajun Craze, and I'm gonna bring in the smaller outline, and I'm going to ink that up with Cajun Craze, and I'm going to go right over top of that image I just stamped. There we go. And I'm going to do that with all 3 images. I love this sunflower image. It's just so, every time I stamp with it, I'm always impressed. It's just really easy to work with. There we go. So isn't that gorgeous? The petals of the sunflower, I just love it. Now I'm gonna bring in this stamp set, we have a center. So I wanna stamp that. I'm going back to my Crushed Curry. So I'm gonna ink that up with Crushed Curry. Just gonna come down here over top. The beauty of photopolymer, as I've said before, is you can see exactly where you're stamping, okay? So I'm just gonna stamp these centers. There we go. Now, to make it look like a real sunflower, we need sunflower seeds. So this stamp set has this little tiny image, which is like little dots. Hi, Tanya, thank you. I'm going to use our Early Espresso, a little dark brown color, to do some sunflower seeds in the middle. I'll do probably 3 on each one. Like that. I'm going to turn my card. There we go. So now I've got sunflowers with sunflower seeds in the middle. And I just want to add a little bit of the greenery. I'm going to bring in my Old Olive ink pad. And one of the images looks like this vine. So I'm going to ink that up with Old Olive, and I'm going to come in here from the side. So I always have scrap paper on my work surface so that I can stamp off the edge. When you stamp off the edge when you're stamping on your card, it kind of gives a more continuous look. Okay, so like that. All right, now I need a greeting. So this one has gather together and give thanks. So I'm going to ink that up with my darker color, which is my Cajun Craze. And I'm going to stamp that down in this lower right-hand corner, like that. There's my greeting. And this stamp set also has the cutest little acorn bits. Hi, Renee. Hi, Cheryl. So I'm going to stamp an acorn. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the acorn, ink that up with Early Espresso. I'm going to stamp, oh, that's not Early Espresso, that was Old Olive. It's okay. I'll just wipe that off. Try again. See, the new ink pads have a color band on them, right? So you wouldn't make that mistake. So I don't have all the new ink pads yet, but I will eventually get them. So that's Early Espresso. I just stamped it off to give a lighter image. I'm going to stamp that right there. And then the top part of my acorn, I'm going to ink that up with Cajun Craze and come right in over top of that acorn shape like that. There. Then I've got a nice little acorn accent. So all I've used here on this card so far is stamps, ink, and paper, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that. I'll bring back my card base and then I'm going to mount that on top, just leaving a little bit of a crushed curry border. Just makes the crushed curry pop a little bit. And there's my simple, easy card using only stamps, ink, and paper. Isn't that awesome? So fast, so easy, no fuss. You don't need to make a fuss. You can quickly make stamped cards like this and have them in the mail in like literally minutes. So I have another card I wanted to show you because there's other ways to use stamps, ink, and paper other than ink pads. Okay, so let me just move my stuff out of the way and bring in another stamp set. So the stamp set I want to showcase now is in the holiday catalog. I'm going to show you here at the back of this is the holiday catalog. Okay, hi Angela. At the back of the holiday catalog, on page 54 and 55, there are two stamp sets. Now, at the bottom, it gives a value, and it says, well, at the top here, it says just for hosts, okay? So the only way to get these stamp sets is to host a workshop, or to book a party, or to place a $200 order. If you place a $200 order, you're considered the hostess for your own workshop, okay? You don't have to have anybody over or host a big party. You can, if you have a $200 wish list, then you can get these things for free, okay? So this stamp set here, love this stamp set. This caught my eye as soon as I got to the last page of the catalog. I'm like, oh my God, look at those stockings. It's called Hung with Care, and you can get it in wood or you can get it in clear mount, okay? So I got mine as clear mount. It's a $29 value, but you don't pay anything. You pay $17.50 of your hostess credit, okay? So if you had a $200 workshop and you got $20 for free, you could use that $20 however you want, but it goes a lot further if you spend it on hostess items. So this one you could get for free. Okay, so here's the stamp set. I got it in clear mount, okay? And I'm gonna show you how to ink up this little stocking, okay? So you can use ink pads like I just showed you, but if you have clear mount stamps like the red rubber, you can ink them up with markers, okay? So a lot of people think markers are only just for coloring on paper, but they're not. They're also for coloring on stamps. So the way I did this, I'm just gonna zoom in here. If I can get, whoops, nope. That's my ceiling. Flip you around. I don't think I can get in any closer. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to get a little scrap piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to start, I hope you can see me, and I hope my head's not in the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my stamp using markers, okay? So I'm going to be using Bermuda Bay. I'm going to use the felt side of the marker, and I'm just going to gently color all the way. I'm going to do the top in Bermuda Bay and the bottom, this little part by the arch of the foot in Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to use Old Olive for the toe, okay, and the heel, and the middle portion of the stocking, like that. Now the markers are water-based, so they will dry really quickly, but that's okay. You can still take your time and be very careful with your inking, because then what you're going to do is you're going to huff on it, okay? Yes, the hot air from your mouth, you just go like that, and just reintroduces the moisture that might have evaporated. And then you can stamp your stocking, and you can see that you get all the different colors from just using 3 colors of markers instead of using ink pads, okay? So that's a way to get color on your stamps, using another way of getting ink, okay? So stamps, ink, and paper. Now, let's come out here a little bit. I went ahead and started my card, so I'm using Old Olive, same size as the other card I just did, 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. I've cut myself a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm gonna flip it over, you see the magic now. And I stamped the greeting from this stamp set, and the stockings were hung. I did some of the little hook. I stamped the hook. And then I went ahead and I did with markers what I just showed you. But I went ahead and did this just before I went on camera because I didn't want you to have to watch me ink them up. So I did those 3. And then my 4th one right here, I did it on scrap paper. And then I took my time with my scissors, my little paper snips. Now these snips are sold by Stampin' Up, and they are the best little scissors ever for cutting out things. So I fussy cut, they call it fussy cut when you hand cut something. So I've got my little stocking, and I'm ready to put that onto my card with dimensionals. Okay, and what did I do with my dimensionals? I don't think I have them here with me. I got these little mini ones. We'll use mini ones for now. So you just want to put, just to highlight that. Now you don't need, this whole video is supposed to be about stamps, ink, and paper. So dimensionals, I think that's you need dimensionals. Dimensionals are a must-have, I think, when you're paper crafting, because you really want to be able to pop things up and highlight them, and it really does make things look a lot better when they're popped up. Even just like one image, like this stocking. So that's ready to go onto my card base. But I also wanted to talk to you about ink. So I've shown you how to stamp with ink. I've shown you how to stamp with the ink from the markers. How about sponging? Okay, so you know that I'm a big fan of sponging, and I don't like my naked white edges like on this card. So I have a sponge here. We sell sponges. Stampin' Up sells sponges. They're round, okay, when you get them. So I chop them into little quarters, and I add a little piece of cardstock to the top, and I just staple it. And then what I do is I bring in my ink pad. This is Old Olive. And I dip my sponge into the ink pad, okay? And I hold the cardstock in my hand, and then I just gently scrape off the edge of the cardstock. It just adds a little soft bit of color all the way around. And it just, I find it really finishes the card off very nicely when you add a little tiny bit of ink. Just looks more complete to me. So there's another way to use ink, okay? So I'm ready to go ahead and put this down onto my card base with my snail. I love my snail. It's so fast and easy and clean. No need for using liquid glue when you have a tape runner. There we go. So there's my card. Now, this is basics, okay? All kinds of adhesives. Yes, Renee, you're right. So this is my basic card using only stamps, ink, and paper, okay? But of course, you know, our catalog is full of embellishments and ribbon and rhinestones and bling and all lovely ways to juice up your card. So one thing I was thinking I would do, I'm actually casing this card from the catalog, and we have these new red rhinestone jewels. Aren't these just adorable? So I'm gonna pull in these, and using my new Take Your Pick tool and the end of it here with the pointy tip, I'm going to use this tool to pick up 3 of these little red rhinestones and put them on my focal point, which is this stocking. I'm just going to put them right there. And that's going to just be enough bling to make me happy. There we go. So you could totally see how you can make easy cards using just stamps, ink, and paper, and this one is just using a little bit of bling. So I'm going to flip around. Oh, I had my glasses on so I could see close up. Thanks so much for staying with me today, and thanks so much for helping me get through my cards. So my 2 cards from today, again, the Painted Harvest and the Hung with Care. Love, love, love these stamp sets. This one is a returning one. Well, it's in the catalog, but it was out last year, and I loved it last year, and I'm loving it just as equally this year. So if you don't have these, feel free to go over to my online store and place an order to be sent right to your house. If you are stocking up on ink, if you need markers, It's a good time to do it. Christmas is coming. I'm sure you're going to use all of the lovely stuff you're going to purchase. And when you spend $50 from my online store, I'm going to send you a gift, okay? A special gift just for my online people. So thanks for joining me. And if you have any questions about anything, you know where to reach me. Send me a message here or private message me, whatever you'd like. And thanks again to everybody who shared my video. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.